going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and I'm joined by the whole crew of the 49ers Hive tonight. Looks like we're missing Brandon, but I got Matt to my left, I guess, on screen. Perry to his side, below me, Dion to the side of him. Christian, what's going on, guys? You guys ready for this Niners-Packers divisional round?
Yes.
Yep, I'm excited.
All right. Guys, if you're tuning in on Twitter, head over to youtube.com/49ershive. We can't see or interact with any of your comments. Make sure you go to YouTube so we can. We're not ignoring anybody. We just really want to see them on Twitter because we can't through Twitter. See them on YouTube because we can't through Twitter. Matt, as always, I'm going to start off with you. The vibe this year is a little different than previously when the Niners have faced the Packers in the playoffs. How are you feeling?
I feel like this is going to be the tightest game of the weekend, if I'm being honest. This is the one that I've circled as being the most competitive. Some of the other games are just blatant mismatches. And so you go into this one, it's kind of like job well done already, right? Like we made it past the first round. Anything beyond this point, considering where we started at 3-5, is a little bit of icing on the cake. And it's just how far can you go, you know? Some of the things that are different is that we have running game this time. We're not going to have 21 carries for 67 yards like we did in the first game. But then we got a banged-up Jimmy Garoppolo. So he's already suspect as it is. And then when you add injuries on top of the list, who knows what's going to happen. But I think this one's going to be a competitive one. So I'm definitely a little nervous about going up into Green Bay.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I was looking over those stats, and Trey Sermon led the 49ers in rushing in that Week 3 matchup with like 10 carries. What'd you say, like 37 yards, something like that?
31 on 10 carries, yeah.
Yeah, atrocious. No disrespect to Trey Sermon, but that's not who the 49ers are today. Perry, I'm going to go over to you next. How much of a difference does having that Elijah Mitchell feature in the backfield make in the 49ers offense?
All I can say is Eli Mitchell is a rookie, right? And he's just been absolutely amazing for what it's worth. But it's going to be cold. And there's one thing football players don't tend to like to do in the cold, and that's hit and tackle or get hit and tackle because it hurts. It's cold. It's frigid. No one wants to take beatings left and right. And if anyone's going to dominate in this kind of game, it's Elijah Mitchell and Kyle Shanahan because our offense is predicated for this type of condition. It's cold. It's wet. It's weathery. It's all the above that will just dominate for the run game. And this is when it comes down to a testament of who's stronger, who's more resilient, who's kind of faced more adversity in order to live up to what's going on right now. And I would say that's the Niners. And you have Elijah Mitchell, who's just he leads the league in yards after contact. I think at one point in the season, he had more yards after contact than the second leading rusher as a whole. That is absolutely incredible for what it's worth. And if you can ask for any running back to run in this game right now for the Niners, it's Eli Mitchell. So you have that kind of back. You have Kyle Shanahan. Fingers crossed, we're not asking too much for Jimmy Garoppolo if that's what it comes down to. But either way, having Eli Mitchell and the way he runs is just much more than what we could ask for. And this type of condition, that's huge. For 4 quarters, unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is going to be a huge addition for the 49ers. Dion, next I'm going to go to you. But we all saw Jimmy Garoppolo last week. He had an admirable first half. He got the job done. And then the second half, boy, did that go downhill pretty quickly. But, of course, we find out, he has an injury. He has this sprained shoulder. Shanahan saying it's not going to be too much of a big deal. He practiced fully. How are you feeling about Jimmy going into Saturday? Because are you concerned about the shoulder? Are you concerned it's not going to allow him to make the throws that he should normally make?
You directed that question toward the wrong person. Well, I'll make it short and sweet because I could go on forever. The issue is Jimmy is consistently inconsistent, and he's suspect when he's fully healthy. So him banged up does not help anything. I see that Cam Inman screwed up and said that it was shoulder and a toe instead of shoulder and finger. I don't know how you get those mixed up, but I guess he did. The issue is with Jimmy, the consistency. We don't know. And all of us on this panel can agree we do not want it to be a shootout between Jimmy Garoppolo and Aaron Rodgers. I want no parts of that because I know Aaron Rodgers is going to eat us alive. It's way too easy. I mean, I understand that Kyle feels Jimmy gives us the best chance to win. But honestly, in this type of game, I have to go to the facts. In recent history, we are 3-0 against the Packers in the playoffs from 2013, 2014, and 2019. How do we win those games? By running the ball. In 2013 and 2014, it was a combination of Frank Gore and Colin Kaepernick. And in 2019, it was all Raheem the Dream Mostert. The man threw the ball 8 times. Joey put it in the comments. We're 23-1 when we run the ball more than 30 times. So we need to run the ball, control the clock, and make sure that Aaron Rodgers is on the field for as little time as possible. I don't trust a banged up Jimmy Garoppolo just as much as I don't trust a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo to be able to get us where we need to go.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. It's going to be nerve-wracking to say the least. Christian, we've seen it in the comments here. I forget who commented it. I think it was David. We now have E-Man and Ambry playing corner. That first game was Diamador Lenore, Josh Norman. These were the corners that were kind of out there getting abused by Aaron Rodgers. Do you feel more or less, secure with the 49ers corner situation the way it is now than it was in week 3?
I mean, having the corners now, I feel like we got a defense. I don't feel as nervous. Our boy Stewart said in the chat earlier that if we pick Rodgers off, we're going to win, and he thinks we're going to get a pick. And the way I think we're going to get a pick, I think Rodgers is going to try to pick on Thomas a lot, and Thomas is going to be like, all right, motherfucker, and he's going to get him one.
I want to chime in.
I think
on
if
that
anybody
real quick.
picks off Rodgers, it's going to be Thomas, and it's going to be a big one in a big part of the game. The changes the momentum.
I want to follow that up real quick. I was listening to a podcast earlier, Packers podcast, and Aaron Rodgers, when he throws an interception, even just one interception in the playoff game, the Packers are 2-8. Now that spans quite a bit of time for his career in the playoffs, but he's 2-8 when he throws one pick. So I'm not saying pick the ball one time, but Aaron Rodgers throwing turnovers in a playoff game does not bode well for him. And I just got to agree with you, man. I think forcing turnovers would be huge.
I appreciate the compliment, Dylan. If I had his money, baby, yes, that is me all day. I appreciate the compliment, bro.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat, Perry. If the 49ers could just force a turnover, he's thrown 4 the entire year, so it's going to be tough to get it, but I do think they have a good chance if they're able to. On the flip side, it's key that Jimmy Garoppolo, like Dion was saying, doesn't turn the ball over, because the 49ers, I don't know the stat top of my head, but it's like 2-6 or whatever the hell when he has a turnover or more than one turnover in a game. It's hard for him to overcome that. So I'm hoping that he can just take care of the damn ball. Kyle doesn't even ask much of him. Also, in that week 3 matchup, Deebo Samuel didn't even run the ball, which I think Matt touched on when he opened up the show. Matt, how big of a difference is Deebo Samuel now that he's arguably one of the best offensive players right now?
I mean, it's huge, the way that they're using Deebo Samuel. They weren't using him in the rush game. He's obviously going to be there along with Eli Mitchell. That's big. Here's the other thing to remember. George Kittle, had that calf injury that he sustained in week 1, and he tried to tough it out, eventually went on injured reserve a little bit later. That plays a key too. And also, Brandon Ayuk was in Shanahan's doghouse. So now you're looking at a sustained set of weapons against, a Packers defense that's not that great. It's one of those things where, I think run DVOA, they're like 27th. Rushing win rate, they're last in the league. This is going to be a 49ers team that's going to be able to run the football. When you put it in cold weather, we talked about earlier that, hey, people don't like to hit or get hit in cold weather. That's true of finesse teams like the Packers. A physical team like the 49ers, you can't tell me that George Kittle ain't going to go down there and put it on somebody. Cold weather or not, he don't care. There are those guys that come out when you look at them and it's like 6 degrees and they're not wearing any sleeves. They're out there with bare arms ready to go after somebody. And I think that that's the mentality that this team has. I think that's really important. As far as the other side of the ball, I mean, no, Rodgers doesn't throw picks, but at the same time, there's going to be no Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You got Randall Cobb, the washed one, Randall Cobb, all of his 375 yards in 11 games coming back. if the 49ers can take away Devonte Adams to the best degree possible, because you're not going to shut somebody like that down completely, that's going to be a key there. So 49ers got to run the football, got to keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline cold, and they got to take away Devonte Adams. That's how they're going to win this game.
What's going on with Valdez-Scantling? Is he out?
He's listed as doubtful.
Yeah, doubtful.
Which means he's probably not going to play.
And they'll find a way to get him in there, man. He's their take the top off, and he's their burner.
It's a knee, though.
Oh, yeah, and then that cold weather on that hard field.
Dude,
yeah,
knees in cold weather do not freaking go.
No, so outside, so you're going to deal with Randall Cobb coming back from IR. David Bakhtiari is listed as questionable. He may not play. Alan Lazard, who nobody's ever afraid of. I think they're tied in. Is it still Robert Tunyon, who's like decent?
Yes.
No, but like
Marcedes Lewis.
He's good in the red zone.
Yeah. So like if you can kind of, and not even to the extent that they were able to bottle up CeeDee Lamb, but if you can keep Devonte Adams under 100 yards receiving, you're gonna have a big chance at setting the tone and keeping the score low for the Packers and getting out of Green Bay with a win.
I want to just comment and say Robert Tunyon is out for the year. He tore his ACL. So they don't really.
Who's that tight end? Richard Rodgers?
Marcedes Lewis, right?
Marcedes Lewis, yeah. And I know that only because he's a UCLA guy.
Marcedes Lewis is old and washed, though.
See, that's how much I know about the Packers tight ends.
One thing I can tell you, though, is you got to be real careful because Rodgers is a quarterback that makes something out of nothing when it comes to players.
Yeah.
And there are very few guys that can do it, and he's one of them. So even though Marcedes Lewis may be washed, he knows how and when to hit him to allow him to be able to do something good. So even though he may be washed, we still got to be mindful of him because I don't need him sneaking out the backfield. And next thing you know, he's getting a touchdown free and clear because everybody was like, "Oh, we ain't got to worry about this old dude."
I think though, if the defensive line starts hitting Rodgers early, and if you're getting hit a lot early, especially in a freaking game where the grass feels like concrete, he's going to start his accuracy is going to start fading a little bit. He's going to start short hopping throws. That's what I think. I think we're going to beat him. Even if we don't sack him all the time, if we put his ass on the freaking grass every time he throws the ball, it's going to start to affect him, especially in the second half. Because if I was him, I would not want to hit that concrete every other time I throw the ball.
I mean, I agree to an extent because, like, we've seen it before, right? Aaron Rodgers is a little bit of a front runner. If he can get out with a lead, that's what he likes to play with.
Yeah.
He doesn't. When you look at fourth quarter comebacks, he doesn't have as many as you'd think he would, right? So that's going to be the key is to get to him early and often. Go ahead, Perry.
I was going to say David Bakhtiari played last week, and all week I've been listening to Packers podcasts because I just want to see what those guys are saying. Man, it's a lot of shit talking. Like we'll probably talk about it a bit later, but that Peter Bukowski guy, oh my god, that guy is just. I think he's the Niners keep beating the Packers. But anyways, about Bakhtiari, just real quick before we get to that, he played 26 snaps last week. Did not look good. They were saying that the backup left tackle in his place, I don't even know his name, was getting smoked when he played. So if Bosa plays, which I'm assuming he will, that pass rush will be hungry.
We got a super chat. Gray Fox 198, $10 super chat. Thank you. He said, Packers pods and fans are overconfident and the amount of disrespect from the media is just baffling. And I'm sure we can run all over them, but I'm scared of which Jimmy will wake up on Saturday. Well said, Gray Fox. And guys, am I tripping or is this just an exact repeat of what we went through last week against the Cowboys? I mean, It's literally like fans that are overconfident, media analysts, which are basically saying, don't count the Niners out, but 9 out of 10 of us are going to pick the Cowboys. I've basically seen the same thing. I feel like that they're more justified in doing it with the Packers and the Cowboys, but maybe not much. How do you guys feel about this?
The disrespect coming from the Packers' mouth. So I watch Eric Crocker in the morning. And what's going on, Brendan? I watch Eric Crocker in the morning. He had a Packers podcaster on. This man literally had the nerve, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, the unmitigated gall to come out and say that Debo would be a non-factor. He said that what's their linebacker's name? The guy that has like 1 billion tackles. I can't remember his name.
It's Devondre Campbell.
He said Devondre Campbell was going to shut down Debo Samuel. I looked, I said, okay, I know how you are. You're polite to your guest. You don't go back and forth with them. You allow them to speak their piece. I would have cut him off right there and looked at him and been like, look, let me tell you something, okay? George Kittle said it best. Tuck your chains. Don't come on here doing that. You will not win that battle. Deebo Samuel is not about to be shut down by Devondre Campbell. Okay? If he didn't get shut down by Jalen Ramsey when he threw his body into him, and all that did was just throw Deebo off a little bit, what makes you think Devondre Campbell has a big shot at actually tackling the man? Nobody actually wants to tackle Deebo. And Lefty said it best. It's cold. I don't want to go out there hitting no damn body. If I can go with your legs or your feet, that's where I'm going. I don't want to try to go up top with you. It's cold. My arm's going to be cold. The blood don't get flowing yet. It's a lot. But that's you can't be out there acting like Deebo Samuel is going to be a non-factor.
You don't want to tackle a rock like Deebo in the cold. We good?
Zach be chilling.
It went silent. I don't know.
No,
I was typing outline.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Listen, like
That was a good point done anyway.
I know. Hey, yeah. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that we got to think about, and I definitely think that Deebo's going to be a factor. I think we all know that Deebo's going to be a factor, and I had some back and forth with Packer fans about Devonte Adams and Deebo Samuel on Twitter. It is what it is. You got to remember what is in Green Bay other than the Packers and snow? Like nothing. So that's why they feel overconfident. I will say this though. Here's the one thing that worries me about the cold. Jimmy's coming in with 2 injuries that could potentially get aggravated by that cold. I think that we need to prepare for the possibility that they ask Trey Lance and it would be a tough spot for him. That if Jimmy starts getting hit a little bit, if they can't keep him upright, that those injuries are going to come back to kind of bite him. It's going to be cold. That kind of stuff is going to be really hard to deal with in the cold. They might be asking the kid to come off the bench, and that because it's not a full week of preparation, I think that's a tough spot to put him in.
He's from 100%. Minnesota, so he knows the snow and he knows cold, and he played in North Dakota.
Yeah, so he knows the cold. That's for damn sure.
Hopefully, the temperature thing won't be too much for him.
Jimmy, I mean, he played in Illinois also, so he is technically a cold weather quarterback. Like, he understands the conditions, but it's just, I agree with Matt, man. The moment he takes one hit, I mean, even if he just goes to the ground, I mean, last week he fell on the ground kind of weird, put his hand out, kind of shook that thumb. And that's in Dallas, mind you, where the weather is perfect. And you come to Green Bay, where we're talking about negative wind chill. that's a different level of football, guys, I would say. And all it takes is one hit, So, yeah, I agree. I mean, it is asking a lot of Trey Lance. I will say that much, that if he can execute Kyle Shanahan's offense to what he did, even against Houston, even if it was a slow start, not that I like the odds, but I think there is a decent chance that Trey Lance could perform if his name is called upon. But at the same time, I almost kind of hope that doesn't have to happen.
Right. I mean, it's tough, right? Because you're sitting there and it's like, we think he can come in and play. But it's also the situation of, when you're surprised about something, right? Like, instead of being prepared for it all week, right? Like, I prepared to be the starter all week. That's not what he's doing. So now you're asking him from a perspective of, I'm not taking a ton of these snaps. Now I got to come in and execute the game plan in a crucial spot where the season's on the line. That's a lot. And for Jimmy, it's not just the hits, right? It's what happens when he takes the hit and then goes back to the bench because they don't have the ball, and he's sitting on the sideline, and then all of a sudden, oh man, that shoulder, it's kind of stiff, or man, oh, that thumb's kind of hurting. Those are the things you really have to worry about. So it very well could be a possibility that we have quarterback issues because of the weather and because of the fact that Jimmy's coming in here banged up.
Do you guys see a scenario at all where we see Trey Lance on the field to begin with? Not starting, but just like in any packages or in the end zone. Because that's one thing that Mayoko's talking about a bit, is that he wouldn't be surprised if Trey Lance came in at the end zone and they used him like they did in week 3.
Mayoko needs to get his clicks.
They panicked so much in week 3 when he came in, though. It's like, I wonder if Kyle remembers that, and he's like, let's see if I can get him to panic again.
So that's why I'm asking you guys, do you think we see him at all, or do you think it's just...
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if
The
Kyle
only thing I could see is, like, if they were trying to do something to, like, in like a 4th and like 2, or like maybe it's like a second
A
and
red
6
zone thing.
coming close to like the 2-minute warning where you get Trey in there and they think you're going to run a play to try to draw him off sides or something like that. But other than that, I don't think Trey actually sees a snap unless Jimmy can't go.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Kyle's not able to really manage both of them at the same time, calling plays at least that for at the same time. It's too much. Maybe it gets him out of his groove too much. Whatever the case may be, he tried doing it for a bit and then immediately was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. Either I'm making both quarterbacks below average when I could just be focused on making one, really good, or at least do what I need them to do out there. Dylan's asking if it's supposed to snow for the game. I just looked up the weather for Lambeau Field. It doesn't say any chance of snow until Monday, but Saturday it's a low of 6 and a high of 20 degrees, partly cloudy. That's as of now. Granted, I mean, of course, it could change, but I don't see any snow as of now. It's going to be a crazy game, man. And I'm looking over. Obviously, Devonte Adams is the biggest. Matt, I'm going to throw it back to you. Who else do the 49ers have to worry about beating them? Whether it's a running back, a wide receiver, can they just focus on taking Devonte out of the game?
I mean, you still got to worry about Aaron, who even if you play perfect coverage, can put the ball in a bucket, and you really have to worry about even if the receivers aren't the best, you got to worry about Aaron Rodgers, who has this nasty habit of, dropping a ball in a perfect spot where a dude just has no choice but to catch it. So, I mean, you definitely have to worry about that. On the flip side of the ball, you got to worry about that, Jair Alexander and, the Smiths, and you got to worry about the people that are going to put Jimmy Garoppolo under pressure and try to force him into a bad decision. Because I don't think it's so much that Aaron Rodgers is necessarily going to beat us on his own. I don't think that they have the firepower necessarily for that against this defense, considering it's the third-ranked defense in the NFL. I think that they need to take advantage of the opportunities that they have. Devontae is going to get his no matter what. He's just too good a player. You're not going to be able to bottle him, particularly with the way the 49ers play defense, which is, zone defense primarily. He's going to get open. He's too good a player not to get open in those zones. But they need to play perfect on offense in conjunction with forcing turnovers and stopping the runs. So those are the things you got to look out for in this game. I looked at another site, and they said it's supposed to be light dusting of snow tomorrow and Saturday, but that it's going to be clear by game time. It's still going to be cold. They're saying, it's going to feel like -6.
Jeez, man.
Did they say it's supposed to be like 14 degrees over there on Saturday?
It's supposed to be 15 at kickoff. It's going to drop, but with wind chill to bring it down to feeling like 0, and then it's supposed to drop by 7 or 8 degrees over the course of the game.
Dude,
so you're looking at like a -7 wind chill factor.
When you have injuries, oh man. When it's like 29, 27, 29 degrees out here in Utah, my freaking injuries start hurting. I couldn't imagine in 30 degrees colder than that.
Yeah, I'm low-key worried about Fred Warner.
Speaking of injuries, let's get into the injury report for both teams. As of now, the 49ers, Jordan Willis, Nick Bosa, and Ambry Thomas are all questionable, and that's it on their injury report. Obviously, Jordan Willis, the ankle sprain, Nick Bosa, the concussion, and Ambry Thomas has a bone bruise on his knee. And as far as the Packers, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is doubtful with a back injury, and David Bakhtiari is questionable with that knee injury. Obviously, the most important is Nick Bosa. Ambry Thomas, a close second with the knee. Jordan Willis has actually been quite productive. He was last week, at least, and he's dealing with that ankle injury. There was a comment in here, I think, from Ace saying Ambry's not going to play. Matt, medically, a bone bruise. I mean,
He'll play.
Sounds pretty serious.
He's
okay.
he's going to play.
Dude, if he don't play, we're not
He's
going
to play.
If he doesn't play,
yeah, he's going to play. I think Bosa's going to play too. I think it's a good sign that he was a full participant in practice. So that tells me that they think he's going to clear protocol, that he's not having any lingering effects. So they have until Saturday morning to clear him. I think he's going to clear and he's going to play. He didn't look that bad when he was when he initially got hurt. I thought it was more of the way, to me, it looked more like he got his neck and his upper back tweaked a little bit. And that's what I was more worried about. I know he got hit in the head, but it didn't seem that bad to me. And he didn't act like it was that bad. Even his dad came out after the game and was like, he's fine. So it's just a matter of clearing that protocol. I think he's going to be good to go. Jordan Willis is the impressive one because Kyle said I think it was either today or yesterday in his presser, that Jordan Willis is a high ankle sprain. It's not a low ankle sprain. So the fact that he's able to do anything with that, I guess he's had him before. So Kyle said he hopes it's maybe an old injury that like he just aggravated or something. And then I think it's impressive that Fred Warner's not on the injury report. I think they're just going to tape that bad boy up as heavy as they can and just send him out there. But I think, with a bone bruise in a game of this magnitude, I can see like week 2 against the Jaguars, maybe he doesn't play, right? But like this game, he's playing.
All right, well, that's great to hear. Joey saying, how worried are we about slot fades from Devonte Adams? We've been noticeably burned by them recently. Is K1 starting to become a liability in coverage?
He's played pretty poorly recently. I would say he has looked pretty poor.
Well, his interception was huge.
Amari Cooper is a good receiver. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he's good, but typically K1 tends to play the slot fades a lot better. And yeah, Joey, he got burnt by a slot fade last week against Dallas, and that's what I'm talking about. It's ever since he came back from his COVID stint, it seems like he's been kind of 50-50. So I don't know if COVID really impacted him or he's just still getting his feet wet or what. But I would arguably say K1 has been the most questionable in our secondary, even over Ambry and E-Man.
It's tough to say.
It's a tough call.
He's such a
Ambry lately has been good, so I will not tolerate any Ambry
guilty.
Thomas slander in here. Although E-Man looks suspect last week for sure.
The tackling, I'm not a fan of. It's the tackling by
the angles.
Tackling in the NFL is just bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Emma is saying, "What's going on, fellas? Who do you think will be the most important player on Green Bay to stop?" I mean, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers.
On Green Bay.
Okay.
I was like, for Green Bay, it's Elijah Mitchell. On Green Bay, it's going to be Rodgers for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's really Devonte Adams. You take away his number one target, Rodgers can still do stuff, but
I think she means for them to stop.
See, Matt kind of made it a point earlier where you talk about how Aaron Rodgers can just drop one of those throws. I think, while that is true, I think if you can limit Devonte and you need to make Aaron Rodgers to make more of those throws that are tough consistently, while he can do it, I think if you're playing tight coverage and the pass rush is hitting home, you got to just pressure him and make him make those throws all the time. Coverage has to be tight. Because last
the problem, though. We don't play tight coverage. We play zone coverage.
That's what I was just going to mention.
But that's because we had to with the corners we had at the time.
That's our scheme. We're not a press man scheme. So unless you're going to have Thomas follow him around the field because he's the best press man corner, which they're not going to do, Devontae is going to find soft spots in the zone. That's just a fact.
Yeah. This is what I was going to bring up too. Is Troy Aikman this past week mentioned how CeeDee Lamb shouldn't have had one catch because our corners were playing so far off of him that he'd just be running slants all the time, and those are just instant catches. And that's when I was going to jump to Matt and agree with him, is that we don't run press man at all. If we do, Ambry's always in a really good position, but we don't really do that often. So it's a matter of either you got to bracket Devonte Adams and hope that Rodgers makes a one-on-one throw, or just hope he doesn't hit Devonte, which won't happen.
Here's where I think
he's going to get it.
I know we don't run man that much, but I think the fact that we did play him and when we did play him, they had a certain way to stop our pass rush. I feel like D'Amico Ryans is going to scheme some stuff up to where he's going to have some good adjustments. And I think even though we lost, I think us having that one game against them this year is really going to help us defensively, because I wouldn't be surprised if we see some different stuff, because for one, we were so weak at the corner position at the time that they just kept hitting us with the quick throws. I don't think they're going to have that. And I think our pass rush is going to actually have a little bit more time to get there. I wouldn't be surprised if they just, always double cover Adams with bracket him with the safety, but I would not be surprised if we see some different style of defense here and there against Rodgers, just for the fact that D'Amico Ryans going to be trying to scheme some stuff up to trick him.
I don't know that you have to have necessarily a different scheme overall. I mean, remember that this team was just coming off of the crushing injury to Jason Verrett in week 1. Yeah. So they're rolling Diamador Lenore out there. They're rolling out Dante Johnson. It's just different overall with the personnel that we got out there. But I mean, even in that game, they were hitting quick hitters, but Devontae still had 12 for 132 and a touchdown. He's going to get his. It's incumbent upon the other positions to really get in there. And, I mean, I don't even think did we have Tart that week? Maybe we did, but he was just coming back.
Hufanga played for Tart. Hufanga was in.
No, Tart played. He had 3 tackles.
Was it Ward that didn't play then?
In week 3. No, Ward played too, but it is what it is. You're talking about guys rounding back into shape and all that stuff. It's an early season game. They're really hard to predict, right? First month of the season, you don't even know what you got. Lenore doesn't even play anymore. So it's a different secondary. It's a different team. Armstead's running the interior of the line. We got Charles Omenihu in later in the season, who's been doing a good job. Arden Key and all them boys are rounding into form. It's going to be different. I don't think they're going to be able to do the quick hitting stuff that they did last time. So, again, it's try to limit Adams the best way that you can and force the other wide receivers to beat you and force Aaron Rodgers to make perfect throws. Because if they're not perfect, then boys aren't catching the ball. Like, we know that they'll drop stuff.
I mean, and you take away the pass interference, which I don't think will have an issue this time. A big part of their offense last time was, let me just throw it up and get a pass interference. And how many third downs did they convert just when we thought we stopped them? And the whole game would have been different if they didn't get those passes.
That was the first game that I really remember that being an issue for the Niners defense. I'm just going to chuck it up, trust my receiver to draw the flag, and we're going to move the ball 35 yards down the field. I think there was 3 or 4 key third down PI penalties.
Third and longs, too.
Third and longs where the 49ers could have gotten them off the field. Instead, they didn't. We got a super chat here. Perry, I don't want to cut you off. I'll let you get to this. Great Fox 198 says, I forgot to mention the Browns almost beat the Packers in Lambeau and they ran for 5,000 yards. They lost because Baker threw 4 interceptions. Thank you, Great Fox 198, for the contribution.
They're a bad run defense, dude. They really are.
They haven't played hardly anybody this year. They haven't been tested this year.
I've been waiting to say that for a
while.
But
go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I've been waiting to bring that up in this show, is that the Packers remind me of the Cowboys in the sense that that level of competition is so low. It really, the NFC East is the worst division of football by far, but you look at the NFC North, and it's the Lions stink, Minnesota is inconsistent and they stink, and Chicago stinks. And I really think, as good as Aaron Rodgers is, I want to give him his props. Having to face that low of competition is a huge factor when it comes to games like now. And you look at the Niners, and you look at how battle tested they are throughout the season. That is just. It's like what I said at the beginning. It's a battle of will and strength and who is more physical. And that it's a huge factor going into this game. And I think if
easy 6 wins. Easy 6 wins.
Yeah, exactly. And seriously, and it's you look at this game and it's just, who is the more physical team? And we all know who the more physical team is. We don't even have to be biased to say that. And I think if it comes down to anything to win this game, whether it's turnovers or rushing yards, whatever it may be, it's physicality. And if the Niners are going to win, you got to be physical. And I think their experience throughout the season, that just has such a big factor, guys. I've been waiting to say that for so long.
This Packers team isn't built all that great. This team would be a below average team without one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever throw the damn ball. You take Aaron Rodgers away and give him any quarterback, dude, and they are terrible. He is the difference. This team, it's not like the Packers are this great team. It's just Aaron Rodgers is that great, but he's that great to get this team to this level in the regular season. They're not great enough to win. That's why he's lost so much in the playoffs in his careers, because he's never had a good enough team.
Yep,
and he can only carry the team so far.
I just want to say, we hear so much about Shanahan, possibly from other fans, at least fans of other teams, Shanahan possibly being the worst of that kind of Washington coaching tree that birthed McVay and LaFleur and Shanahan. But I would love to see what LaFleur would do with Jimmy instead of Aaron Rodgers. And I would love to see what Sean McVay, and I got to give him credit, he did it with Jared Goff, but Jared Goff is a capable quarterback. He's not going to go out there. He did outduel Patrick Mahomes on that insane Monday Night Football, whatever. But for the most part, you know what it is when you face a Jared Goff. And now he's got extremely talented quarterback in Matt Stafford, physically gifted. And meanwhile, Shanahan's been doing it with Jimmy Garoppolo. And nothing to take away anything from Jimmy, because the guy, he's got a record that speaks for itself. QB wins, the whole meme, it is what it is. But he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Matt Stafford. Is he Jared Goff? I mean, is Jared Goff a step above him? So it's insane to really think about it. But just what you're saying right now, Christian, this Packers team, if you switch both quarterbacks, we're talking about this Niners team as a dynasty. Does that Packers team make a wild card?
No.
It's crazy.
Let's put it this way. If they had a Hall of Fame for game managers, Jimmy would be in there.
I don't even think that. I disagree with that. He can't stop turning the ball over.
I was just referring to his record.
I mean,
hey, knock
on the plus side, at least Jimmy's never gone 4 straight games with an interception.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, he's never gone 4 straight games with a pick. So
that brings me to Linda's question here. With the concerns about Jimmy throwing interceptions, are you worried about cornerback Rasul Douglas? He's only been with Green Bay since week 6 and has 5 interceptions, 2 for touchdowns. Can I go first real quick? I just want to say I'm concerned with him throwing You could just end that sentence right after. Are you worried? Because yes, I am 100% worried. The man has not been able to not turn the ball over. Going back to, I don't even remember the game last he's played. He turned it over in Tennessee. He turned it over. Did he turn it over against the Rams?
Yeah.
Yes. He
did.
Right.
Yeah. Twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. It's right. In the first half. Yeah. He turned it over last week against Dallas. It's been over a month, I would say, because he had that week off against the Texans that he didn't play. He needs to play turnover-free football. Hopefully, this is the week. The Niners desperately need it. I don't know if they could overcome another 1 or 2 turnover performance. Specifically, Rasul Douglas. I mean, he doesn't worry me any more than their existing corners already do. I don't know if you guys feel any differently.
I mean, if he's got that many interceptions, he's just jumping routes and probably getting burnt a lot and then jumping routes. The same thing with Diggs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Dion, you got something on your mind over there?
I'm always worried about Jimmy versus good DBs, period. Like, this whole defensive backfield is pretty good. Eric Stokes, not that bad, and he's fast as shit. Rasul Douglas, nice. Look at the numbers that are on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like Jair Alexander, I know they say he's questionable. That man gonna play. My thing is, Jimmy can be a turnover machine, and we don't need to wake up and have bad Jimmy show up on Saturday, because if he does, then we're screwed. My thing is, I looked up the numbers. Run the ball, Kyle. I don't care if Jimmy don't throw the ball at all. I don't care if you just keep putting Debo and Elijah and mixing it in, and you throwing a little bit of Jeff Wilson Jr. if you have to. Just run the ball. That's how we beat them each time. We murdered them in the run game. Cap, I think we had over 300 yards rushing his first playoff game, and that was between him and Frank Gore. Cap had 181 running, 181 yards. Then the next year he came out and he ran. He didn't have that much, but he still ran. Then when you come and you put Raheem in there,
that's why I'd like to see Lance in there, man.
It makes sense. Like, and then that's where I was going.
Running.
You actually did that. That's where I was going. Here's the weird part. Lance is a mobile QB. He's nowhere near as fast as Kaepernick was.
I was about to say he's not.
It's hard to match that fucking horse.
He doesn't have that speed, but what I will say is
he's a better thrower.
He makes the run game more dynamic because he's an actual runner. If you put him in there, they gotta account for him.
Well, the linebackers are just going to
Jimmy running the damn thing. You know that. Unless Jimmy just randomly sees green grass and he decides that he's going to take off and run for a couple of yards. But that's what I'm saying. It's, to me, with these defensive backs, I don't need him throwing more than he needs to. And I know it sounds weird, but in the NFC North, like Perry was stating earlier, it's a trash division. But if you look at it, this is the reason why I never wanted Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins ain't going to win no championship. Kirk Cousins ain't winning no playoff games. He ain't winning nothing. He's going to make a ton of money because he can pad his stats, and he's a good quarterback. But he's never going to bring you a championship. Look at everything that he's done in Minnesota. Exactly, nothing. But with Jimmy, yeah, I'm very scared about these DBs. I don't need him trying to go after Jair Alexander thinking he's slick. And don't try to throw it Rasul Douglas thinking you've been about to build that one in there. Like that pass that he threw to Kittle when he was triple covered. Bruh.
That one should have been a touchdown.
I throw it again, and then, by the way, I throw it again. No, Jimmy. It's 3 people. That's 3 blue jerseys and 1 red. What are you thinking?
when your other guy's wide open.
Dylan said Dak's talking about himself.
Yeah, bro. Hey, look, Dylan, I don't know why you think I'm Dak, bro, but like I said, man, I'll take the compliment, man.
I just want to real quick. I'm gonna address Ace Bro put a comment in there. Alex Smith greater than Jimmy G as a game manager. Listen, Alex Smith would take this. Prime Alex Smith would take this team to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
There we go. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
win the
The
Super Bowl.
Shanahan offense is like Alex Smith 101. This is
He
the
would
shit
win.
we love to do.
Dude, no, it would seriously be like Alex Smith Utah days if he was in Shanahan's offense.
Alex Smith with George Kittle. You saw what he did with Bernard Davis. You serious? He would. Oh my God, Green Bay would just. That would be that point where those fans really start to shit their pants because they'd be looking like, oh damn, we got a guy who can really throw the ball. Who actually
And Alex Smith don't turn the ball over too.
Exactly.
No, he was
Very safe
good,
with the
man.
ball. He's not gonna make no.
Those Debo Samuel checkdowns would be nasty.
Oh,
Well,
gosh,
here's the other thing.
insane.
Shanahan schemes people wide open. And one thing Alex Smith was really good at was reading the field, and he would find those open guys, and it would just be it'd be lights out.
Awesome at reading the defense.
and he wouldn't miss wide open touchdowns or wide open receivers.
No.
He would hit them every
Dion,
time.
I want to add on to your point about Jimmy, right? About worrying about Jimmy. So
Mhm.
Vish from Grant Cohn, Vish Kumar,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
tweeted,
I know
Jimmy
this.
gets a lot of criticism. Some of it is fair, some of it can be harsh. Given all that, I think it's totally fair to say outside of one drive versus Minnesota and one half versus Dallas, he's been objectively terrible in the playoffs. When you think about it, what performance can you think of Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs? I know it's kind of a limited sample size. There was, 2 games last year in the Super Bowl, right? The Minnesota game, or not in 2019, not last year. Minnesota, Green Bay, Super Bowl, and then Dallas last week. Do you think of any of those and think, oh, here's where Jimmy stood out. Here's where Jimmy cemented himself as a playoff legend. It's unfortunate, but we have not seen that from him. And I know the narrative is he's clutch when he needs to be. When else do you need to be clutch than in the playoffs? And we haven't seen it. So regular season clutch, sure, man, you can get it all that praise. But when it matters most, we have not seen him show up. And that's what's most frustrating.
This should be the game where he does show up because of the run game should work. Even if they stack the box, the run game should work. This should be where he shows up because he's just throwing to wide open receivers and hitting his first read constantly. Yep. First or second read.
With the health of this team too, it really does. I think it's going to be a really, really ugly look if he can't move the offense because you now have, like Matt was saying, in week 3, George Kittle went on IR right after that game. George Kittle's healthy. Deebo Samuel's healthy. Brandon Ayuk is healthy. Juwan Jennings has emerged as a clutch receiver on third or touchdowns.
You can't cover that guy.
And if you now still can't move the ball, it's on you, man. It really is on you. And you're just proving the 49ers decision to trade up for Trey Lance to be the right decision the more you are ineffectively moving the ball.
I think Kyle's going to make it super easy for Jimmy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few different screens throughout the game, which I think Debo's going to take a screen to the house. Watch. He's taking a screen.
Bootleg him.
Yeah.
Jimmy is great in bootleg.
Yeah.
If you roll him out, I don't know what it is. He seems to find a way to make a throw.
That's what he did. That's what he did in college, though.
I mean, if you go with a couple of runs and you bootleg Jimmy, it's going to leave something open. It would make sense.
That's what he did in college. Bootlegs and
it's easy.
Getting out on the run.
Ian Sharps is the problem is somewhere between brain and arm.
Damn.
So
when Jimmy doesn't have to think, he's the best quarterback in the league for about 5 seconds.
What's up, Perry?
I was looking for the picture I sent in the chat some time ago, but I found it. It was worst passer rating in the fourth quarter overtime in the playoffs over the last 30 years. And Jimmy Garoppolo has the worst passer rating of any quarterback in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. Minimum 3 starts.
Worse than Trent Dilfer.
19.4 is his passer rating.
I saw that list. It's worse than Brock Osweiler, bro.
It's worse than Osweiler, David Garrard, Drew Bledsoe, and T.J. Yates, I think.
Hey, listen. Bledsoe, legitimate Hall of Fame quarterback for his era.
Garrard was the man.
Garrard was better than people remember. I watched David Garrard for a couple years. He was pretty good. But T.J. Yates and Brock Osweiler, you cannot be worse than those two. Like
Robert Pattinson.
I didn't know
Osweiler
Osweiler
looked
played
just
in the
like
playoffs.
Pattinson.
I have to
Yeah.
address this really quick. Through 3.5 quarters in the Super Bowl, he was fine. 18-22 for 195 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception with a 99.8 passer rating.
That interception was
Then the next half of the fourth quarter happened. Let me explain something to you. You can't be fine against Patrick Mahomes. That's the problem. You can't be fine against Patrick Mahomes. You need to be stellar. You need to be exceptional. You need to be at the top of your game when you are playing that young man. What happened to us in that Super Bowl was an atrocity because our head coach blatantly got comfortable against the worst quarterback to get comfortable against. Everybody knows in that season, in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes came from behind every single game. At the end of the day, man, look, Weezy said it best. Don't you get too comfortable. Do not. You can't. That's the whole point.
That's Kyle's biggest
These
weakness,
numbers that you put up here, Aaron, those numbers are trash. It's not going to work. It's not enough for you to be able to do that. You have to find a way to be able to produce and be able to put up bigger numbers than that. Because Jimmy was, 17 of 26 with 172 yards and an interception versus the Cowboys? And people were out there, they jumped on the Jimmy Garoppolo gravy train like this man was the second coming to Joe Montana.
We almost lost the
Those
game.
are stellar numbers. What about these numbers make you
I want to talk about that, by the way.
Go get them, man. Please.
Speaking of, and David Lombardi, we've talked so much shit about him on this show, but he had the audacity to say, "Oh, Joe Montana threw 3 interceptions that game with the catch." I'm like, yeah, that's 1981, bro. Like Dan Fouts led the league in passing yards, and he had like 27 interceptions. Like Jimmy Garoppolo, his interception numbers would have been like good for 5th in that year. You're talking like the interception percentage that Jimmy Garoppolo throws, 2.8% this year, would have been 5th best in the league. It's 22nd now. You're talking about in a completely different era. It's like, why do you have to cherry pick and compare him to the past? Because you know you can't compare him to his contemporaries, because you know against his peers, he doesn't line up. And for 3.5 quarters, he was fine. Cool, but for half a quarter, the most important half quarter, he wasn't. People were coming out and saying, hey, for all the people that are railing, I think it was Jack Hammer. I'll do respect to Jack Hammer, but he said all the people that are railing on Jimmy Garoppolo for that bad second half are overlooking his first half. I'm like, dude, if you're only 50% good, you're trash. That's an F.
Second halves win the game.
That's an F. If you're only good half the time, you're not worth anything to me. You need to be good more than that. And that's just, you know.
And besides,
it's been too much. It's been too much pass for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't know if it's people are just caught up in his smile or like fucking they can't see that QB wins isn't a real stat, but come on, man.
That jawline, baby. That jawline, it's immaculate with the butt chin. It's immaculate, okay?
The worst part about it is that he goes out in that Dallas game and makes a Pop Warner mistake and doesn't wait for Trent Williams to get set, snaps the ball, and then you cost a 5 yard. Then he single-handedly almost lost that game.
Which is Kyle actually held him accountable.
I am all for the lose as a team, but in that instance, Garoppolo single-handedly.
But did you see Garoppolo in the press conference too?
That game should have been a blowout. We don't even talk about how they say Jimmy. That game should have been 42 to fucking 15, 16, whatever the fuck. We should have whooped their fucking ass, but because we have Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback, it's fucking close until the end. Any other fucking quarterback, that's a blowout.
Well, I mean, he also that the momentum also again 3.5 quarters, right? They're up 16, but Jimmy Garoppolo makes a mistake, and all of a sudden momentum shifts. But like, you know, did you see Jimmy Garoppolo in the press conference when he was like, when Kyle held him accountable for that thing? He said, "Oh, Kyle said that about me." And like blew it off. And it's like, where's your accountability, dude?
Yeah.
Like you need to look at yourself and be like, you know what? I did get too excited. That's on me.
That doesn't exist. He never takes accountability. We all know that. Everything with him is that's a tough one, and we lost as a team.
We got to do better.
Yeah, you can see that just in how Don Yee comes out, and every time he's injured, Shanahan's like, yeah, you know, it's fine. He can probably play with it. It's not that bad. And Don Yee comes out and is like, man, oh, his arm's falling off, or like his toe is falling off, or like whatever, dude. And there's such a disconnect. It's like Jimmy needs that excuse to you know, when they ask him, oh, how'd the shoulder affect you? He's like, I mean, it's a shoulder, so it affects every throw. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Then if it affects every throw, so where you're killing your team, why are you out there? Because a true leader would be like, you know what? I want to be there for you guys, but this is going to keep me from, I'm going to hurt you guys more than I'm going to help you guys. And that's what a real leader would do. But Jimmy makes it about himself because why? Because he's looking forward to his next stop.
To add on to Perry's point about the rookie mistake, not letting Trent Williams get set, and that would have single-handedly been on Jimmy Garoppolo, not to be that guy. But then to see after the game where he's walking off and fucking, let's go, this is our house. You, sir, need to get into the locker room right now and sit your ass down. This almost wasn't a win because of you. I don't want to hear shit from you.
We
You
can't
go sit down and you go thank Nick Bosa and company for saving your ass because
he said we own you. And I'm like, what did you own?
Yeah.
We can't have – he can't play like that against – if he plays like that against Green Bay, we can't win. Like that against Dallas, we can survive. Not against Aaron Rodgers.
Jimmy has the stat line that he had against the Cowboys, against this Packer team, we're getting boat raced.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're getting blown out. Easy.
Yeah. It's just astonishing. I don't get me wrong. I dig the mentality, I guess, but bro, some self-awareness, please. You came very close to losing this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? You want to be fired up. Initially, you're just like, yeah, man, we got the – and then I'm like, hey, wait a second. You're the motherfucker right here that almost gave it to him. You tried to give it to him.
See, I think
Dak and Jimmy played hot potato with the loss, and they were like, you take it. And, like, Dak just ended up, like, at the short end of the stick. But, by the way, Cowboys fans, if you're complaining about the referee getting in the way of the ball – complain about your coaches running a quarterback draw with 14 seconds and no timeouts.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't care what nobody says. Stephen A's top 5 saddest Cowboy fans was priceless.
Dude, did you see the couple that like the guy had the arm around the girl and it came out that was his side chick and his real girl saw him?
Oh, shit's funny.
Yeah. There was
only the Cowboy fans.
What a way to get outed, bro! Like that's the worst way to get outed. The funny thing was when he broke down the black lady, he broke her down because I've seen that look before. Okay, I'm black. I've seen it a billion times, bro. I'm done with you, motherfuckers. I ain't got time for this shit out here. I come out here every time to support you idiots, and you just wasting my damn time. Every time I look out and bought that, I feel like I wasted my money on this jersey, on this ticket. It's just.
I like the one lady. I like the one lady who was crying with 4 minutes left, and Tony Romo was like, "It's not over." And I'm like, "She's been a Cowboy fan long enough to know that it's over, right?" She knew.
Dude, it's so funny because Romo was so biased in that game too. That was man.
He was okay until the fourth quarter. When the fourth quarter came, the fourth quarter was ugly. Yeah.
And the way we're listening to that last play too, it's so funny because Jim Nance? Who's his commentator?
Nance.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if they're gonna have enough time. And no, they're gonna have enough time. They practiced this. And then the clock's going down, it gets 3 seconds. And he's like, "Oh my god!" Sure enough, it gets all the way to 0.
Hey, he said you bet his rent money. Don't do that, people. No. Just come on, get it together. Don't ever bet your rent money on a game.
I'll say this. As long as we're talking about commentary, we're getting Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Joe Buck is like an Aaron Rodgers stan. That man lives and breathes it. So don't expect good commentary. And Aikman's going to be a little chaffed about last week.
He's salty.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, he's going to be hurt.
Yeah, they keep giving us the shit fucking announcers.
So
they're not shit, but I mean, at the wrong time, I should say.
Haberman and Middlecoff that apparently CBS put in a bid for $70 million to have first pick of the playoff game. So last week they picked the 49ers and Cowboys, and then this week was it the Bills and
Chiefs?
Chiefs, yeah. So
I don't blame
that's
them for
how
that
it shaped out.
And that could be a really big shootout, man.
Yeah.
I think the Bills are going to
play on Saturday, right? Or not the Chiefs and Bills. The Titans and Bengals play on Saturday too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Saturday
going to be
a fun
both
game,
number
though.
one seeds are playing on Saturday.
Yep.
I think you had to do it
really
that way. I think they would have played both. So if Fox would have got the pick and they picked Niners Packers, I think that Tennessee would have played on Sunday too.
Mhm.
That way to make it even playing field for the number 1 seeds. It's just interesting how it works.
Yeah, in that same podcast, Zach, Middlecoff thought that the Niners were going to play on Sunday before they found out that they had gotten the Saturday game. They for sure thought it was going to be a Sunday game before the schedule even came out.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I think Matt said it too, that they weren't going to make the winner of LA and Arizona go play Saturday. So it kind of made sense that it was going to fall on a Sunday.
Could you imagine a 5-day turnaround for a playoff game? That would have been terrible.
That would have been tough. That would have been something to complain about.
By the way, I didn't like the Monday game.
No, not a fan. Yeah,
not because it just wasn't not competitive or whatever. But you're still asking teams to be like super short week, even if you play on Sunday. I don't know, man. I'd rather have 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. I'd rather have that.
I like the Monday game because of the outcome. They got destroyed. I don't care what nobody says. Hey,
I told y'all Cliff Kingsbury.
But it sucks. It
like,
sucks how many.
Cliff Kingsbury is hot garbage when it comes to the playoffs. For some reason, in the regular season, he seems to be all right. You want to run out here with Gucci shades on, trying to coach a game, and then when you get into the playoffs, you just look like hot shit on the stick. There's nothing. I don't understand what happens, but he just falls all the way apart. And I'm telling you, man, DeAndre Hopkins makes a lot of difference because you saw AJ Green did nothing for you.
Yeah.
It sucks though that most of the divisional games were kind of trash. There wasn't that many really close or good ones. There's only a couple. It's like
the wild card games, you mean?
Yeah, like I would wish that a lot more of them were close. Like I'm like, oh, the divisional game Rams
to the Niners
to be close.
Leave it to the Niners to be the only one to
I
make
will
your
say
heart
this,
race.
for as much as we hammer on Jimmy, I have to give the award for dumbest playoff interception I've ever seen to Kyler Murray.
Oh my god,
that was the biggest piece of shit.
I wasn't watching.
I've
I
ever
didn't
seen.
see it.
The one where
he was down at the goal line. Right? He was down at the goal line, back up on his own goal line. Leonard Floyd, or it was either Leonard Floyd got a hold of him. He was going down to the ground. He underhanded it up in the air, and it was picked off for a pick six.
Like 5 yards.
Like just take the safety, bro. It was the worst. Yeah. Go look up that highlight when you get a chance, Christian.
I saw it in real time. Yes, Kenny Clark does worry me against his O-line because Kenny Clark is a dope-ass defensive tackle. Like I'm not going to sit up here and make it seem like the Packers don't have playmakers. That I will not say that. I'm not going to be disrespectful like that and say that they don't. They have a really good defense. The issue is there's facts and there's history behind my idea. I'm sorry. We run all over their ass every single time. Why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Period. Run the ball, man. That's all you got to do. Exactly. You don't need Jimmy to throw. If you want to make him throw, bootleg it.
There's only one team Kyle will just keep running the ball against and not feel like he has to pass, and that's the Green Bay Packers.
Other teams he's going to do it anyway. He did it against the Rams when they were down 17 too. You neutralize the pass rush by running the ball.
No, I just mean because sometimes he likes to throw in bad times. Except against the Packers, he'll just keep running the ball.
Kyle just outcoaches himself a lot. He gets in his own head. He tries to get cute. It hurt him in both Super Bowls. He just goes away from what's working because he's like, they're gonna adjust, and I'm like, let them adjust before you change it. Make them prove it.
Yeah, but he didn't do that against Green Bay, and then and I'm like, well, I guess in Green Bay he'll keep running the ball.
I mean, was that the game that Jimmy Garoppolo had that like spin around backwards throw though?
8 passes.
No. The game in week 3. There's a comment in here. Hopefully Jimmy doesn't throw it backwards again this time. I think that's the game where Jimmy Garoppolo spun in a circle and threw the ball backwards and was like, it's an incomplete pass. I was like, no, that's a fumble because you threw it backwards, you idiot.
Yeah.
Man, he's got so many just fuck ups. It's insane.
So,
just think this might be the last time we have to deal with this motherfucker.
Question for you guys. We obviously know who the better quarterback is. I'm not even going to waste my time asking that question. But objectively speaking, who's better running back? Zach?
Packers. Packers are the better running back.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah.
I think so too. Just because they roll too deep. And Aaron Jones is a good pass catcher out of the backfield.
Barrett?
Yeah, Packers. I hated the AJ Dillon pick, but he's been really good for them. And I said it way earlier that this is the type of game built for AJ Dillon, and he's a perfect complement to Aaron Jones. So yeah, I got to give it to the Packers.
Christian?
I would say us other than they can catch the ball out of the backfield, they're not going to run for fucking shit. Aaron Jones can't Aaron Jones catches the ball out of the backfield. He doesn't run the ball very well anymore. And I mean, what I've seen him doing, he's okay, but I'm not. Neither of them scare me, other than you know when Jones is going out for a catch, because he's pretty much a receiver when that happens. So other than that, I mean, when it comes to actually running, we're better because we have Mitchell, and then you count Debo as a running back half the time too, and he's better at running the ball between the tackles than the guys Green Bay has. So I would just give it to us. I mean, if you want to say, oh, like as football players running like all around, maybe they have a single guy with Aaron Jones, but if you want to just put it as a collective, our run game is better than theirs.
I think that the running backs on Green Bay are better. I think the overall scheme is better in San Francisco because Kyle knows how to scheme up a run game, and that's the difference.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I actually agree with Christian on this one. The scheme, and I agree with you, Matt, the scheme is better, but I believe that our backs are better strictly based on the fact that we can actually control a game with our run game. You won't see them run the ball and just keep running it. They won't find those types of ways in Green Bay to be able to move the ball like we do and or scheme it up. You don't see
what Matt's talking about, though. Matt's talking about like overall talent.
I understand, but
the scheme and what Mitchell does in the scheme.
Well, but it's different too, though, because I'm talking about Aaron Jones out of the backfield. The dude had 52 catches out of the backfield.
Yeah, dude, he's
Marshall
Faulk.
He's used very much like a dual threat, like a Christian McCaffrey was in Carolina, but he's very much a safety valve for Aaron Rodgers. And considering the way that they were able to neutralize our pass rush the last time, you have to take that into account, how good Aaron Jones is out of the backfield, because that's a huge, huge deal, man. When your running back can catch 50 passes, that's a lot.
Huge. On top of that, A.J. Dillon ran for 800 yards on only 180 carries, so he did very good in a limited role. Yeah. So that's why I think the talent is there for Green Bay, but the scheme is what gives the Niners the edge.
Yeah, but our guy can break tackles better than both of them.
Zach, I need you.
And that's not scheme, so.
Shut up, Christian.
Shut up, Christian.
Who's got the better wide receivers? And I want you to dig in on that. I know it's hard.
That's easy.
It doesn't.
Devonte Adams is numero uno when it comes to this game. Yeah. We understand that, but I'm talking about as a core.
Oh, that's easy.
As an entire unit, the Niners by far.
Of course, the Niners.
Devonte Adams is great, but the drop off between him and the Packers number 2 is big. And where the 49ers, obviously, the entire league knows about Deebo Samuel now, except for whoever team's fans the Niners are playing that week. For some reason, they pretend to act like they don't know who he is or what he's accomplished so far. But Brandon Ayuk is arguably even a better receiver than Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is a better overall player, but we're talking strictly running routes and getting open, running with the ball. As far as a receiver, Brandon Ayuk is a hell of a receiver and arguably as good as Deebo Samuel. He can't run between the tackles, but he's great
route running.
And then a third receiver with Juwan Jennings, what he's been able to do. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Niners. I think overall as a unit have the better wide receiver unit.
Here we go. Matt, what you think?
I agree with Zach. It's the 49ers. I mean, you go deep with Juwan Jennings too, again, coming out as a third down threat. And, you have to take into account when we're talking about receiving core, you cannot discount George Kittle. So you have to put the tight end in there along with the wide receiving core because he receives the ball. That's just how it is, right? Like you don't have KC's offense without Travis Kelce, just like you don't have the 49ers offense without George Kittle. I'm looking over at Green Bay. Sure, they might have the best pure wide receiver in Devonte Adams, but then it's like I said, the washed one, Randall Cobb, coming straight off of IR. Alan Lazard, who would struggle to make most other teams, who's there because Aaron seems to like him for some reason, right? I didn't even remember that Robert Tonyan tore his ACL, so that shows you what my opinion is of that guy. So you have Mercedes Lewis, who's getting a little bit older. You put up the actual playmakers next to each other, and in the wide receiving core, it definitely has to go for the 49ers.
We're not even mentioned. Nobody's even mentioned Juice catching the ball.
When you have Aaron Rodgers, and he's targeted Devonte Adams 169 times, which is nice, 169 times, And then the next most targeted wide receiver by the Packers, Matt said, Allen Lazard, only 60 targets, 40 catches. Kind of tells you all you need to know about what Aaron Rodgers thinks of his wide receivers. And that's how he's been his whole career, more or less, is, he had Jordy Nelson, he had Devonte Adams, he's had Robert Tonyan, he's had the talent with one guy, but the backup core receivers have been horrible. And that's kind of how it is again this year. Not to knock Lazard, who's been playing very good as of late, but when you're talking about overall talent, what the guys can do with the balls in their hand, pause. Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, you guys, they're nightmares. They absolutely are. And that's kind of what's frustrating, is that they don't even get to their full potential as wide receivers because we have a quarterback who can't throw the ball further down 15 yards. You know what I mean? So it's really frustrating, but I don't want to get into that. I do want to say that overall, I think the wide receiver talent, the Niners do have the edge by far. Devonte Adams may single-handedly be the best wide receiver in the league, arguably. But when you're talking about as a core, you got to give the Niners the edge, man, because there are way too many players, from Jawan to Debo to Brandon Ayuk to even freaking Mohamed Sanu if he's active. Whoever, maybe there's just everyone on the wide receiver room can do something. They can absolutely do something, and that's where the Niners have the edge.
Christian.
Well, I mean, so obviously, Devonte Adams is the best, but I think personally, Ayuk's gonna get to that level because he hasn't had a chance to really get to that level, like what Perry said, because of the quarterback he has thrown him the ball. But I think as soon as he does, with his ability in route running, it's as good. Well, I mean, it's going to get, maybe I'm being a little overzealous saying it's as good, but it's at the level almost of Devonte Adams. The reason Devonte Adams is the best receiver in the league is because he is a fucking phenomenal route runner. He's unreal. And I think that's one of the best attributes that Ayuk has, and I think he can develop into that type of guy once he has the right quarterback. And then Debo Samuel does everything. And then with Kittle, I think Kittle's going to have a huge game because he was quiet last week, so I think this is where he's going to have that breakout week. And he doesn't get a lot of love, like the same kind of love that Kelsey does, because most of his stuff is blocking and pancaking guys, but then he's there when you need him. And then with Jennings, just slowly becoming that number 3 guy who's just always there when you need him on a third down. Like, I swear to God, Jimmy just looks for him on third down, like, oh shit, where's Juwan? Boom, first down. So, we have like a really good core of guys. I'm like really excited for the next couple of years to come because of the core of guys we have. And the Packers have one guy, and that's it.
So I just want to kind of just touch on this real quick. Devonte Adams this season had 1,553 yards receiving, right? 123 catches. Debo Samuel had 1,400 yards on 77 catches. So 50 less catches than Devonte and almost just as many yards. So I'm just putting it out there, man. Once Trey Lance plays, if anyone's going to break the single season receiving yards record, could be Debo. Just saying, that's how hot he's been.
You are damn Perry, man. You got these dang numbers down pat.
That's that yak.
That's that yak. I'm gonna go with the 49ers. You guys already laid the points out. I have nothing else to say. But then O-line, Zach, who's got the better offensive line in this game?
Ooh. That's tough, man, because admittedly not knowing much about the Packers O-line other than what, top of my head. Without Bakhtiari, and from what Perry said, it looked like he was struggling last week even when he was in. I'm going to go with the Niners. They took a hit when Mike McGlinchey went down, and it's not like Mike McGlinchey was fantastic, but he was good at what he did, and the Niners knew how to kind of work around that. And then Tom Compton kind of turned into somebody the Niners can actually work with and win with. And the way this line has been able to perform, no sacks last week, right? All of those holes wide open for Elijah Mitchell, Debo Samuel running in between the tackles. I got to give it to the Niners, the way that they've been performing the second half of the season and last week. I think it's been really impressive.
Matt, and then I want you to double up on this real quick, Matt. Who's got the better O-line? And what did you think of Colton McKivitz starting over Jalen Moore when Trent was out for that game?
Yeah, that's not great for Jalen. I mean, Jalen Moore, again, they're both like low round draft picks. I'm just more irritated that Aaron Banks can't see the broad side of a field that even if he tried. Like, I don't. That worries me because that's a wasted second round pick, and it was somebody again. Like, I will hammer this until the day is long. They could have got Creed Humphrey at that pick, who I liked and who is nice. Who was nice. So, for me, I think the 49ers do have the better overall offensive line. And it's simply because if you look at who the 49ers are missing right now, like Zach said, it's Mike McGlinchey. The Packers are really working with a gimpy David Bakhtiari. If he plays, he might not. But when I look at David Bakhtiari versus Mike McGlinchey, who do I think is more valuable? It's obviously David Bakhtiari. And then you look at the Packers still have more injuries than that. I do still worry about the center spot. I see, Mac on the ground way too much. But some of the players that were playing, we said it in the beginning of the season, right? Get Tom Compton the hell out of here. Except Tom Compton looks like he can play. Like, he's looked pretty good.
He's been so good. He's been so good recently. It's weird.
He's been really good. So
it's weird.
It's really weird. He's, and then you don't even think about guys like, you don't even hear Laken Tomlinson's name, but he seems to not mess up. So, Mac and Brunskill seem to be the problems on this line, but listen, anytime you got Silverback on your team holding down the left side of the line, you got a better line. I'm just going to say it that way. That man is he's honestly, I'm going to say it. He's the best player on the 49ers. Like, he's just the best player on the 49ers. That's just how it is.
Go, Perry.
So, yeah, to further Matt's point about Alex Mack, Mack has kind of struggled a bit. But I will say that as of late, Mack has been really good against pass protection. As of now, based on PFF, which is a little bit subjective, but I think it still tells a pretty decent story. Alex Mack has been the highest graded pass protecting center in the league at a 98.8 since I think week 13 or 14. So he's playing high, which is what matters. And then you talk about Tom Compton, who's graded at an 86.3 right now. Tom Compton's been on fire also. So really, I think the step up for the offensive line has been huge. My biggest concern is Daniel Brunskill. And the reason why is because for whatever reason, he can stop Aaron Donald. But he got worked against Kenny Clark at week 3. And week 3 is a little weird, a little different. Offensive line still trying to gel. But I think we've seen this problem all season long, is that outside of Aaron Donald, Brunskill has struggled with guys who are much bigger than him and stronger. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kenny Clark getting double teamed quite a bit, because Brunskill will need some help. So I would say that right guard spot is my biggest concern, since Matt brought up Aaron Banks, which, I don't know why he can't hit the sharp side of the field. But in any event, I think...
I know why. He was overdrafted and he has slow feet. And in a Kyle Shanahan offense, you're not getting on the field with slow feet. Hopefully he can pull a Juwan Jennings and really work on the feet all offseason. That's the one thing I would say. Maybe lose a couple of pounds, work on your feet the entire offseason. I don't want to see nothing but agility drills out of you, because he needs to at least see the field at some point.
Get with Trent, because if you saw Trent's offseason workouts, he was that is a nimble, agile silverback right there, okay? Nobody that big should be able to move like that. Christian, what do you think about that?
Wait, real quick, I didn't finish.
Oh, I apologize, Perry.
No, it's okay. I think I'll give the Niners offensive line the edge, although the Packers are getting back center Billy Turner, who is very, very good. He's a very good center. But I got to give it the edge to the Niners, just because when you're playing with the best left tackle, you're playing with a center and a right tackle and a left guard who are all hot, and the chemistry is there. Even with Garoppolo under center, man, they've been protecting his ass like crazy. No sacks against Dallas. Unbelievable. Unbelievable performance. They've been carrying that since week 10 when Tom Compton came, ironically. And I think they're just going to continue that trend. So give me the Niners.
Christian.
I'm going to go with the Niners line. I think we have the best left side in the NFL. Not just with Williams, but dude, Laken Tomlinson's been an absolute fucking monster all season, and nobody's talked about him. He's just kind of like fucking sitting there quiet next to the big man and fucking whooping everybody's ass. So, just the fact that our left side's better than everybody else's is freaking amazing. And then right now our right side is playing great. You got Perry saying, worried about Brunskill, but fuck, we didn't give up any sacks. I ain't worried about Brunskill or freaking anybody. We had no sacks last week against a damn good defensive line and a damn good linebacker that could rush the passer in Parsons. I'm not worried at all. I think our line's going to whoop some fucking ass this week.
Let's
That
go.
man
Damn
really said we bullies, or we're ready for bullies, and he punches Debo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we have one of the best offensive lines left in the playoffs, just because we struggled most of the year, but as it's gone on and the guys have played with each other more, and now that Compton's kind of gotten used to it and he's got reps, I mean, I feel like our offensive line's pretty good. I mean, they've held up all season, and there's been plays where they look bad because Jimmy holds onto the ball and freaking Happy feets it and gets a sack, and it's not their fault, and they probably get blamed for it. So I feel pretty good about our offensive line. Rodgers has never had a good offensive line, so I don't see why we'd ever pick them, because when the hell has he ever had a good offensive line?
That's true. That's very true. This one's gonna throw you for a loop, and I want to see the honest opinions. Coaching. Who's got the better head coach? Who's got the better defensive coordinator? Let's talk about it. Zach, give me some info.
I mean, the fan in me automatically goes to the Niners. I just think of, like I said earlier, right? If Matt LaFleur had Jimmy Garoppolo, what would he do? Whereas if Kyle Shanahan had Aaron Rodgers, what would he do? And not only that, but when we're talking about defensive coordinator as well, what D'Amico Ryans has been able to do this season is like nothing short of spectacular. It's been insane. I know offensive coordinator for the Packers is Nathaniel Hackett. Let's be real, Aaron Rodgers is like co-offensive coordinator for what he does over there. And then on the defense, Joe Barry's their DC. If I remember correctly, he's been their DC for a minute now. So just the three kind of phases, the offense, defense, special teams. Hightower gets a lot of shit, but the Packers have an even worse special teams unit than the Niners, which is like mind-blowing that's even possible.
I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
Debo's
The Niners are ranked like 26th, and I think the Packers are 32nd. So they're like worse in the NFL, right? I think just based off of what I've seen, who can do what with who and with what, who has done what already with the players that they have, I got to give the edge to the Niners. I feel like they're over here making like steak and crazy 5-star meals with Dollar Tree food. No disrespect, but the Packers are over there settling for like McDonald's when they have Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams and all these crazy blue chip players with no rings to show for it. So I got to go with the Niners.
That's a really good saying. I'm just gonna say that now. That's a really good saying.
Yeah,
that
works, Matt.
Yeah, I agree with Zach. The 49ers, I think, have the better coaching staff. I don't think you can compare. I mean, LaFleur came up under Kyle Shanahan. So, like, what's he done? At least Kyle Shanahan's made it to a Super Bowl, right? Like, he's barely had two nickels to rub together in terms of talent at the quarterback position for a lot of his tenure, Jimmy Garoppolo, for as much as we give him, crap for, and rightfully so, for his suboptimal play much of the time, when he was out, we're rolling out Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. So you ain't winning much with that. But in terms of, when everybody's healthy, I mean, you just look at Shanahan's scheme. It just looks different. When Shanahan's scheme, I mean, just look at the first drive against the Cowboys. How many teams ever look like that, And so Kyle comes out. That's the stuff that Jimmy worked on all week. So that's hammered into his brain. So he knows how to run those plays, right? He knows exactly where everybody's going to be. Those are the times when the offense looks, and again, as Zach said, trade quarterbacks. How good would Aaron Rodgers look with this Kyle Shanahan offense? So to me, I mean, it's simple. And the 49ers are ranked number 3 in team defense. So that's another one. So you're looking at, what does Matt LaFleur have that Shanahan doesn't? He's got Aaron Rodgers. And I think that makes a ton of difference, because if he didn't, and we may very well find out next year, when they have to trot out Jordan Love for an entire season. And we'll see how good Matt LaFleur is as a coach then. But as it stands for me, I think it's a Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers, the better coaching staff.
Eric?
Had LaFleur had a Super Bowl under his belt or had more success in the playoffs, I would say LaFleur. because there is no excuse to be as bad as they are in the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. No excuse at all. I don't care if you're talent deficient. I don't care if you're, the worst play caller in the league. You have the Aaron Rodgers. You have a top 3 quarterback, arguably in the history of the game, and there's no excuse to be as bad as he is in the playoffs. So with that being said, Kyle Shanahan wins in the playoffs. He does. He has a 3-1 record. LaFleur is what, 2-4, 2-5, whatever it may be. It's not that good. I got to give Shanahan the edge because he proved to me that Shanahan has what it takes to win the big game. You're telling me you're going into Dallas, over 100,000 fans, Niners and Cowboys fans, screaming, yelling, hooting, and hollering, the biggest game of Shanahan's career, and going into hostile territory, and you win with Jimmy Garoppolo. That is huge. That alone tells me Shanahan's got the coaching edge because he is built for that moment. He is. And you see what Shanahan can do in the playoffs when they're healthy or when everything is clicking and it all works out. So with that being said, I got to give it to the Niners, man. I mean, the offensive potential is through the roof. Like Matt said, when things are clicking, it's ugly. No team in the league, I think, can operate an offense on the first drive just like the Niners do. And if they did that for the whole game, I don't even think we'd be questioning this as much as we do. But in any event, though, I got to give it to the Niners. Shanahan's scheme is just too much. D'Amico Ryan's, just a great DC as a rookie. The Packers have still yet to prove to me they can stop the run. It's the exact same issue with Mike Pettin. It's the exact same issue now. They can't stop the run. And then I don't watch enough special teams to know why they're so bad, but I know they give up the most punt yards in the league. Packers average a net loss of 12 yards per return to opposing teams. So hopefully we'll return some punts. But in any event, I got to give it to the Niners, man. The talent level might be a little bit different when it comes to quarterback, but the coaching just makes up for that. And you got to give that to the Niners.
There you go, man. That is. Christian, are you able to even follow all that up?
Well, I mean, it speaks for it. It was really, it speaks for itself, but it's also really hard to tell because, like, Perry asked that question earlier this week, and I said Aaron Rodgers negates that question because we don't know, because LaFleur walked into freaking Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what LaFleur is. He's got fucking Aaron Rodgers. Like, what else can I say? Like, you can't really make any kind of assessment on a guy that walks into a Hall of Fame quarterback as his first time as a head coach. And for me, it doesn't look like he schemes up shit. It looks like fucking half the time Aaron Rodgers goes out and just plays fucking schoolyard bullshit. That's Aaron Rodgers' offense, which is what, when you think about it, is what Russell Wilson models his offense after. Aaron Rodgers' schoolyard bullshit. LaFleur, what the fuck does LaFleur ever freaking scheme up or do anything to help Rodgers? I don't ever see it. I just see Rodgers looking like freaking the Magic Man all the time.
Yeah, you don't hear about LaFleur's scheme, right? You don't really hear like.
Isn't that what he's supposed to be?
LaFleur is this genius play caller. He's really good at what he does. He's just calling these perfect plays for Rodgers when it feels like it's just Rodgers being Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's actually, that's kind of interesting to bring that up because I've never really thought about that. That it's just LaFleur gets so much praise, but it's like Rodgers is just doing his thing. I think he has as much to do with play calling as does LaFleur, if not more. Yeah. Same with Mike McCarthy, and I'm sure it's just the same now.
Yeah, and so like at head coaches, it's obviously Shanahan, and then what defensive coordinator has been better this year than D'Amico Ryans? He's got a number 3 defense when he had probably the worst liability you can have as a defensive coordinator, and that's your DBs. And he still has a top 3 defense. Are you fucking kidding me? How the fuck do you do that with as bad as DBs as you have all year and all the defensive pass interferences and still have a number 3 defense? That's fucking blows my mind that we're number 3, and he did that with what we've had to deal with this year and the injuries at the linebacker position for most of the season. And then swapping guys in and out as the D line's been getting healthy throughout the year. It blows my mind the freaking how well he's done this season. And then fucking special teams, dude. That's just which monkey fucking stops humping the doorknob faster. Fucking, I mean. It's I don't know. I didn't know what else other analogy to come up with, but I mean it's just terrible. So nobody has the advantage there, really. I guess we do a little bit, but yeah, I would definitely, other than special teams, we're definitely have the better coaching.
Well, man, I mean, hey, y'all all said it better than I could. DBs, this one is a scary one, man. Zach, who's got the better defensive backs? And we'll include the safeties in there as well. Kind of just makes sense.
Before Zach says it real quick, Jair Alexander is questionable, and they think he's like 50-50 to play. Just for you guys to factor that in right now, Alexander is questionable, and they're really not sure if he's going to play.
If we're including safeties, I'm going to go with the Niners just because Jimmy Ward really is one of the best at his position in the league. He doesn't get the recognition. He doesn't have the crazy interceptions. He doesn't have, all these crazy stats. But what he does for the 49ers, you can just see when he's not there. It's a huge drop-off in performance for the 49ers defense, especially the back end. And if we're including, like I said, safeties, him and Tart, it's a hell of a duo. The rise of Ambry Thomas is what we've been talking about this whole show and pretty much this whole last 2 weeks or so has been huge for the 49ers. Corner, yes, is still probably their top need, but it really does kind of lessen that need to be a hit on that draft pick or that free agency because Ambry Thomas is developing into a solid starting corner. E-Man can be suspect at times. However, for the most part, he's still able to hold his own. I'm gonna give the head tilt to the Niners, but it's tough because the Packers do have a couple of solid corners on their end as well.
It is, Matt.
This is one where I'm going to swing in the direction of the Packers, to be honest. Listen, you're looking at, Jair Alexander's probably going to play, right? Then you're looking at Rasul Douglas. Then you're looking at Eric Stokes. Then you're looking at Kevin King. Safeties, you got Adrian Amos and you got Darnell Savage. Like, these are names. These are good players that the 49ers just, for as good as Ward is, for as good as Tart is, for as much as Ambry Thomas has come up, like, what it's not what the Packers have. And I think that a lot of what the defensive backfield in San Francisco gets away with is that the pass rush is so good that you're getting home and you can't allow things to develop. So you can't stick those guys in coverage too long, but we've seen K'Wan Williams get burned in the slot fade. We've seen E-Man playing really soft zone coverage against wide receivers. And for me, not just to be a homer and to be completely honest, I think I have to go with the Packers. I think that they are the more athletic group. I think they play truer to their scheme and their coverage. And, I just think that they're better at turning the ball over because the one thing that the 49ers defensive backfield does not do very well is intercept the ball. I mean, Ward trying to pick off that pass from Dak Prescott last week was embarrassing. That was embarrassing.
Alligator arms.
Yeah, and he got two. I know he got two earlier in the season in one game, but, I mean, that was like half of his career interception total right there. So – it's sad to say, and it's sad to have it be like that. But I mean, when you look at 49ers leaders in interceptions, I wouldn't be, I don't know the number, but I would not be surprised if Ward led our team in interceptions for this season. Just being completely honest.
Go ahead, Perry.
Yeah, man, this is one of those like 50-50 ones where it's like, if I'm not being a fan, the Niners corners have been playing very well as of late. Mosley's kind of getting his feet wet. He hasn't looked too bad. K1's been burnt a little, but I mean, he just got a really nice pick, so he can still make plays on the ball. Then Ambry Thomas just got a clutch pick, so he can make plays on the ball too. Jimmy Ward and Jaquaski Tart when healthy. I mean, I think they're one of the best safety tandems in the league. Hyde and Poyer are, but I think Ward and Tart are right there. So it's kind of tough. I think I'm going to give it to the Niners, and the reason why I say that is because of tackling. The Packers are one of the worst tackling football teams in the NFL right now. Their secondary is one of the worst. Darnell Savage, their strong safety, has the highest missed tackle percentage in the NFL out of every starting safety. So that alone tells me, okay, well, they're not really tackling that well. And again, when it comes down to this game, it's physicality and who can just execute. And we've seen some ugly missed tackles from us. Don't get me wrong. We've seen quite a few ugly missed tackles. But it's a matter of who can just execute and who can hit home more. I got to give that to the Niners secondary. Those guys always seem like they're right on the ball, right on the receiver or the tight end or whoever it may be trying to hit. And that comes down to coaching as well. So I got to give that to the Niners, you guys. Talent level, Green Bay, I think, has it. Whether Jair plays or not, like Matt said, I'm sure he will play. But I think when it just comes to full-on execution, full-on finishing the play from start to finish, from the ball, time the ball snap, from the time you have to hit the guy, I think I'll give the Niners that edge, and I think, therefore, I got to give the secondary the edge. It is – I did say secondary. Sorry. I think it's really tough. It is a really tough call, but I got lean Niners, like 51-49. It's really close.
By the way, I was right. Jimmy Ward did lead
He
our
does.
team with 2 interceptions, and the Packers have 18 team interceptions to our 9.
God, good.
So if we're worried
Lord.
about Jimmy Garoppolo, this is not great.
Yeah.
9 total interceptions for our secondary.
Well, Christian. Well, with that news, I'm gonna
Actually,
say.
by the way,
go ahead and
real quick, just so that we're clear, that was 9 team interceptions. 2 linebackers, Azeez Al-Shaair and Dre Greenlaw, each had 1. So our secondary actually had 7 interceptions this year. It's pathetic.
Christian,
You're muted, brother.
Mute.
I was going to pick Green Bay secondary just because the fact that we struggled to get interceptions, and that's been our weakness in our defense this year. And I would say the front 7 is Green Bay's weakness for their defense, and their DBs have been probably their strength in their defense. So just for the fact that it's their strength and our weakness, I would give it to them. And I'm gonna give it to them because they got to freaking they got to not get beat by Jimmy Garoppolo. We got to try not to get beat by Aaron Rodgers. So if you're gonna go matchup to matchup,
Matt, 16 interceptions for the Packers is secondary. They have 18 as a team, 16 from the secondary.
Yeah, that's more than double.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
So I think I might give it to the Packers now. I think if you can, screw tackling, if you can go and turn the ball over, that's what decides games is turnovers.
Particularly against Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
That's the thing.
Flip. I think I gotta give it to Green Bay. I mean, turning the ball over is huge in today's league.
That's the only thing that sucked about this defense is I wonder how much different the games could have been, because I remember thinking in the first half of the season we hardly ever started with really good field position this year. Most of our drives have been long drives, and we've started on our side of the 50. We've hardly ever started on their side of the 50 this year because of the lack of turnovers. So that alone, I have to pick Green Bay's DBs.
All right, and to uplift our spirits, because that just completely brought us on a downer. Defensive line, Zach.
It's
I
no
know
question.
you're going with us, baby.
Yeah, it's no question. I don't even have to think about it. I'm gonna go with the Niners defensive line. I mean, they have a defensive line that very few teams could compare with. I'm gonna give it to the. I mean, we've seen what they can do even without Nick Bosa, and we saw people like Charles Omenihu. We've seen Arden Key step up. Jordan Willis, we talked about earlier. These kind of no-name guys, and I mean that with no disrespect to them, but guys that really haven't made a name for themselves in the NFL have made a name for themselves with the 49ers under, Chris Kershak and DeMeco Ryans, and the way that they're able to get production out of these guys. It's like a damn defensive lineman factory. So I got to give it to the Niners without even factoring who the Packers have. I just know they're not better than who the Niners have.
Matt?
I agree. Before I jump into that, I just want to let you guys know, speaking of, if we turn the ball over, where would we be if we were able to get turnovers? The 49ers on the season had a -4 turnover differential. So think about if they could actually be in the positive, we would have been a lot better. Listen, Nick Bosa, stud, absolute stud. You look at, again, like Zach mentioned, you got guys, we roll 10 deep. I mean, they didn't activate Mo Hurst because they had too many people on the defensive line last week. That's serious depth. And it's not just frontline talent, which you need to have to be able to really get after a quarterback and make him uncomfortable. But the fact that the 49ers can rotate dudes in and out all game long, which means that defensive line stays fresher for longer, which means that you're going after the quarterback for a lot longer. And here's the thing. The 49ers do it predominantly rushing 4. They blitzed the 4th lowest amount in the NFL this year. They only blitzed, I believe it was 19% of snaps was what they blitzed. That's a really, really low percentage. The 49ers get it done, and they usually win the line of scrimmage on defense, and that's going to be key this game. So for me, I mean, no disrespect to Kenny Clark and some of those other cats on Green Bay, but this is easily, to me, the 49ers.
Go for it, Perry.
Had Zadarius Smith played all season, I would
No.
say the Packers. No, I know he has. Or I know he hasn't. I said had he played all season,
Oh,
I think that the Packers would be a little closer to the Niners in terms of overall like skill. But I mean, there's word going around that Zadarius might get activated for this coming game. It's a back injury though, so they are very tricky to work around, especially for defensive linemen. But in any event, I got to give it to the Niners, guys. I mean, you guys all know I've been screaming Arden Key since September that he's gonna get his share, and he finished what 6.5 sacks, should have been 7. Like, that was my guy, man. And like Matt said, they're just going in the bargain bin, finding all sorts of talent, and the guys are just executing. And you know what's kind of funny is I feel like whenever D'Amico Ryans blitzes, and like, this is just a random number, but like 90% of the time, I feel like it works out and he gets praised for blitzing because it's like the timing of it is just right. You know, like he calls a blitz at the right time. And that kind of goes to show why we don't need to blitz, is because the 4-man rush is hitting home, and we're hitting home with guys like Charles Omenihu, Maurice Hurst, Arden Key, Zach Kerr played well, and he was only with us for 2 games. And it's like, the guys are just executing on all levels in the front 4. And just for that alone, you got to give the edge to the Niners. And we're not even talking about sacks at this point. We're just talking about guys executing. That's the Niners, hands down. The fact that you could tell me that the Niners this season have as many sacks as the 2019 team, I would have called you crazy, but they really do. And that really just goes to show how that depth plays a huge role into the success. And with that being said, you got to give it to the Niners, man. That depth is huge. It's absolutely huge.
Christian.
I mean, when you think about it, the D-line is going to be the difference in this game. One D-line can't stop the run to fucking save their ass, and the other one's the best in the league at it. Not to mention, then you add our pass rush, and like, I'm so excited to watch this game because I remember how excited. I don't know if you guys remember how excited we were thinking our pass rush was just going to tee off against Rodgers last time, and it didn't happen. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. This defensive line is getting hot right at the right time. They are a big reason we beat Dallas. They're a big reason we came back and beat the Rams and to make it to the playoffs. I think they're freaking firing on all cylinders at the perfect time and getting hot right now. And I would expect them pass rush wise to just go off against Rodgers. And whether or not they're sacking him constantly, he's going to be running all over the fucking place. And he's going to start getting annoyed and things are going to happen. I'm so fucking excited to watch this D-line this weekend. That's like probably what I'm most excited about. I don't even think it's close if you compare both D-lines. Like, I know Green Bay can rush the passer, but we can rush the passer and have a bunch of guys that, like you guys said, we can rotate in and out. And then they can't stop the run for shit. And we're the best against the run. I mean, you add best against the run and 10 guys that can rush the passer, who's got a better D-line than us left in the playoffs? Besides, maybe Tampa Bay's got a pretty damn good defensive line too.
There it is. So, should we go with score predictions?
Before we do our final score predictions, we got to say thank you to today's sponsor. So we got to shout out our guys over at MyBookie. There's only a few games left, guys. You can only take advantage of this through the end of the Super Bowl weekend. So right now, you got to take advantage. Head over to MyBookie.AG. Sign up with our promo code Hive, as in 49ers Hive. You'll get your first deposit matched all the way up to $1,000 and a $20 MyBookie Casino token to bet in the MyBookie Casino. Look, some people are superstitious. Some people don't like betting in 49ers games. I totally get it. I used to be like that too. No matter what I would bet, I would lose the bet and the Niners would lose. So I stopped betting off Niners for a long time. I'm not like that anymore. But even if you don't want to bet in the 49ers game, there's the Cincy and Tennessee game before that. And on Sunday, obviously the Rams and the Bucks tee off, and then the Bills and the Chiefs in the evening. So there are 3 other games for you to place your bets and make some money. Like I said, they will match your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. So go right now, take advantage of our offer. Like I said, only available through Super Bowl weekend. So take advantage now. MyBookie.ag, promo code Hive. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie. And also, guys, right now we have a pickup prop contest going on with our guys over at Pickup. So if you go to our latest article at 49ershive.com, click on the article, scroll down, there will be a prop that shows you, I should say what the prop is. It's who has more total yards, Deebo Samuel or Devonte Adams in this game on Saturday. Let me just show you guys. I'll pull it up here on the screen if you bear with me for a second. And if you happen to bet in this prop, it's super simple. Here's 49ershive.com. Scroll down. You're going to see it right here. More total yards in divisional round. So you click who you want to win. You enter in your phone number. And then it's going to text you a code. You enter in the code. Bam. That's all you got to do. So on Saturday, when it's all situated and we saw who had more yards in the divisional round, Pickup will email the winner and you will get in contact with us and you will win a set of MLB shot mugs. It's really cool. They're baseball, like wooden the baseball bats, but they're shot mugs. And you'll get a $50 gift card to NFL Shop. So go right now at 49ershive.com. Latest article, scroll down to see the below our prop that's on the screen. More yards in the divisional round, Deebo Samuel or Devonte Adams. This is crazy. It's actually 93% to 7% Deebo Samuel. So fans are really liking Deebo in this one. Go vote right now so you can enter into our contest. And if you feel need to tweet at us. Let us know that you entered in. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the show. Let's get into our final score predictions. We got
quick. Hold on, real quick. We forgot to, I don't know if you guys did it or not, but we forgot to compare the linebackers. I think we all agree that it's the 49ers, right?
Yes.
Like we don't okay. We don't have to say that. All right, let's let that out. We get to offensive, defensive MVP, and then final score.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So let's start with defense. I'll start myself. I think it's going to be Ambry Thomas, man, and I hate to put so much pressure on the rook, but in order for the 49ers to win, he's going to have to ball out. So I'm not going to say he's going to have like 2 picks or anything crazy like that. But even if he just kind of keeps Devonte Adams, and like Matt said, he's not going to be shadowing him. But when he is in coverage, if he's just able to keep him under 100 yards, that's a win for me. So I'm going to say Ambry Thomas is my defensive MVP. Matt, I'm going to throw it to you.
I mean, we already know where I'm going. It's going to be not 1, not 2, but 3 Nick Bosa sacks and a forced fumble. Let's go, baby.
All right, Perry, what do you got?
Are we doing just defensive first?
Yeah.
Okay. Defensive, man, I gotta stick with my guns all season because I've been riding this guy since day one. Arden Key's gonna be my MVP, you guys.
Yo.
And, I mean, I'm not asking for a big game. I'm asking for a sack. I'm asking for a sack and a half. I'm asking for a QB hit. I'm asking for some pressures, man. Arden Key has just been, no one's talking about the guy. He's been so good. I'm like banging the drum like this guy's gonna be good. He was a 2nd round talent, got taken in the 4th round or whatever, got screwed in Oakland. And man, so Arden Key is my guy. I'm gonna give him just a sack. I'm gonna give him a sack, but I'm gonna give him a handful of pressures because I think he's gonna have a game. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He's playing alongside other guys who are playing with just as much confidence. Someone's gonna hit home. And it's going to be Arden Key. I'm going to give him 1 sack, but damn it, it's going to be an important sack.
He had 6.5 this year, man.
My guy. I said 7 to 10. 6.5 was close, man. It hurts.
All right, Dion, who do you got? Defensive MVP prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Matt, man. Me and Matt on the same page. I'll tell you right now, I want to hear Papa yelling Bosa the whole time. That's me, short and sweet, baby. That Bosa, get out there and hug Aaron Rodgers. I want you to hug him, squeeze him, hold him tight, whisper sweet nothings in his ear, and remind him, don't worry, baby, I'll be right back.
All right, Christian, who do you got?
I'm going with the same guy I picked last week who had a sack last week, Eric Armstead. He's been a freaking monster since we moved him inside, especially rushing the passer, and he was inside when we played him in 2019, and he fucking ate against Rodgers in 2019, and so I want to see him get 2 sacks, and I see it happening because he I don't know what it is, man, but he can get to Rodgers.
All right,
so I'm excited. I'm excited to see how he does.
That's a big one. All right, offensive MVP. Drop your predictions in the chat, guys. If you get any of them right, we'll send you some merch. For me. The easy answer is Deebo, but I'm not going to go with that one because I agree with you guys. I think this is a George Kittle game, and I think George Kittle's going to go off, and I'm going to say like 6 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. Matt.
I'm going to say it's going to be Elijah Mitchell. I think Elijah Mitchell has 25 carries, like a $125 and 2 touchdowns.
All right. Perry.
Are you guys ready? I usually have one shocking guy every now and then, but this is it because no one's going to say him, so I will. Jimmy Garoppolo will be my offensive MVP. And the reason why is because he's not going to turn the ball over. That's all I'm asking for. Just don't turn the ball over.
That's a low bar.
Very low bar, and I don't know if he can set it. Yeah, fingers crossed. I don't know if he can set it, but Jimmy Garoppolo, man, don't care what his stat line is. Don't turn the ball over, and I think the Niners win.
It's funny. It's funny and it's sad, but I was gonna say it's like asking your wife not to cheat on you. You know, it's like just the bare minimum, bro. Just don't cheat on me. Dion, who do you got?
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with the obvious, man. I gotta go with Debo. I'll say this: we're all men here. I think I'm the only one who has children. I don't know about anyone else. When you have a son, it's a monumental moment as a man. We really appreciate the fact that we have another little dude that has our DNA, and it's just something about it that it gives you extra drive. Like there's something that just stirs up inside you that says, I want this little dude to be the best little guy ever. Tyshawn Jr., because that's Debo's real name for y'all that don't know. His name is Tyshawn. Tyshawn Jr. is that man's driving force. And there's nothing that's going to stop him from giving that young man the best future that he possibly can. And by going out and balling out means that his pockets is going to get fatter. That means that Tyshawn ain't never going to have to go through the struggles that big Tyshawn had to go through. So Debo Samuel's for me.
All right, man. Touching. I like that. I mean, it's true, though. It's inspirational. It makes you, I assume, Debo Samuel's going out there. We saw him on his cleats last week, and you just love to see it. Christian, offensive MVP.
I got to go with JJ because you got to think this is going to be the game where we're running the ball. He's going to be I just have a feeling he's going to come up and get that big catch that we need on third down. He's going to get
I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to laugh at your thing. I'm so sorry.
God damn it. This chat. And to see that son grow up and play for the Rams in their 99.
Hung Fat is a bad for that one.
Oh my god.
That was savage.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm so sorry. I'll mute myself, bro. That was priceless.
That's good. Oh man. So I was saying, because this is this game's gonna be so prominent on the run, when we do need a big we have to pass and we do need a big first down, I just have a feeling JJ's gonna come up big. I think in the red zone there's a chance he might come up big, have one maybe 2 touchdowns. So I'm just thinking, because he's our third down guy, I think, and if I'm hoping we're gonna pass the ball as little as possible, he's gonna be the guy that comes up big and maybe wins the game for us with a big catch.
Okay. I like it, man. He's been super clutch. Final score predictions, guys. This is it. This could be the last preview show we do. I pray it's not. I have faith in my team. I don't think it will be. For me, man, it's tough. It really, every time we play the Packers in the playoffs, I think it's going to be like a 3-point game, and somehow they end up just walking all over them. I don't know if it's going to be that type of game. I see like a – honestly, I think it's going to be 31-23 Niners. I think 31-23. Matt, take it away before I change my mind.
I got the 49ers winning this one in a squeaker. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be Robbie Gould walk-off. I say 24-23.
Damn. All right. Perry.
The Packers have been the best home team in the NFL all year. The Packers have not lost one home game this year. It's cold weather. It's going to be loud. It's Lambeau. Way less Niners fans than there were in Dallas because Packers fans are not going to sell the tickets to Niners fans. But with that being said, it's going to be a close one. I'm not expecting a high-scoring game in the cold weather. It's going to be a one-possession game. And if I have to give anyone the edge, it's a Robbie Gold field goal, man. I'm with Matt. I think it's going to be low-scoring due to just, like, everything going on. 24-21 Niners.
Before I throw it to you, Dion, I just want to say my pops texted me and he says 27-7. So my pops is out here with this, big prediction. I love the confidence. Who do you got, Dion?
Ian Sharp has my score right there, man. He's gonna be a 31-28 joint, man. It's gonna be a tough road. And I just saw Robbie Gold's presser today, and he was saying that the ball does not fly very far when it's cold. He has experience with that playing in Chicago all those years. So my thing is, if we keep the field goals within 40 yards, we should be fine. If we ask Robbie to kick a 50 in that weather, I don't know if we're going to have a good time about that. Mason Crosby ain't even going to be that good in that kind of weather, even though he normally kicks in it. But, 31-28, man, I got to roll with that. It's going to be a closer one than people think, But I say Rodgers winds up going home crying again.
I love it, man. I really do love it. Guys, it's been a hell of a show. I'm basically back. For those that don't know, the boy had COVID, but a week later, basically back to normal. Still got a little bit of a cough, but other than that, I'm good. I'm ready for this game. I'm ready to see the Niners kick some ass, man. Come back here after the game on Saturday. I think Matt unfortunately has to work, but
hey, let me get my prediction real quick.
oh, my bad.
Christian, we cut him off.
Oh,
no.
Shut up, Christian. Christian, go ahead.
So you're like right in the vicinity where I'm at, Zach. I'm doing 31-24. So we're off by a point, but yeah, I'm gonna do 31-24. I think it's close in the first half, and then we have some big runs that blow it out in the second half.
All right, man. I love it. But yeah, unfortunately, Matt won't be here, but the rest of us will be. So come back here Saturday after the game. Hopefully we're celebrating. I really do hope so.
Yeah, I want to be checking in whenever I can in terms of like being able to catch the score. I'm recording the game, so I'll watch it later no matter what happens, because I'm just like, yo, I gotta put myself through the high highs and the low lows no matter what. But yeah, like I'm gonna pass it around to the rest of the group before I go into my traditional saying, but I'm hoping that I get to hear about a 49ers win. That plain and simple.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any final thoughts, Perry?
Yeah, real quick, just because it wasn't talked about too much. Both of these special teams as units suck. They're horrible. Apparently, we thought Richard Hightower was the worst, but apparently whoever's in Green Bay is just as bad too. So this could be one of those games that comes down to who makes more mistakes on special teams. And it's going to be a very underrated aspect in cold weather. Fielding punts and kicks will be hard. It is not easy to field the ball in cold weather. It is cold. The last thing you want is a stiff football just crashing you right in the arms and you muff that crap. So it could come down to attrition of special teams. That's what it may be. And just kind of something to think about. So if anything's going to happen crazy, it will be on special teams. And let's just hope it goes the Niners' way.
All right, Dion.
Hey, man, run the damn ball. So you got to do, Kyle. Don't make Jimmy throw too much. Just run the ball. We have Elijah. We have Debo. Even Jeff Wilson Jr., if you decide he's worth a couple of carries. Just run the ball. Don't put it in the hands of Jimmy. I do not trust him. That's all I'm saying, Kyle. Just run the ball.
All right. Don't get cute. Christian, what do you got?
All I got to say, it's playoffs, and Rodgers is our what, Dion?
Bitch.
Yeah, there we go. That's all I got to say.
That's it? All right.
Yeah, that's
Matt,
it. That's all I gotta say. I'm leaving
He's like,
leaving
that's
it
it.
at that.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Wiki, I can't even follow that. So thank you as always for joining us, everybody. We love having you here. This was a great show. We went nearly 2 hours. The boys will be back with you. Hopefully they'll be celebrating a victory, and I'll be with you guys in spirit. So with that being said, go Niners.
Go Niners.